Hello and welcome to another video on the Life After Brady channel. Today we're going to take a look at the Patriots and Jets first round picks from 2013 through 2017. After the Jamal Adams trade over the weekend, the Jets are getting plenty of crap, rightfully so, for trading away all of their first round picks. Through 2013 through 2017, they currently have no players on their roster. So we want to take a look at the perennial Super Bowl contending New England Patriots, see how that compared. So we went back through 2013, which is when you can't find any players from the Jets roster, when they took D. Milner and Sheldon Richardson. Milner was released after year 3, Richardson year 5. You compare that to Jamie Collins. Collins was a second-round pick who was traded after year 4. The Patriots knew they weren't going to be able to afford him. They elected to go with Dante Hightower over him and Chandler Jones, so he was traded away. A couple notes there. He was a second-round pick, 52nd overall compared to the Jets, who drafted 9th and 18th that year. So, two guys with premier talents versus Collins, obviously a premier talent in the end, but didn't have that fifth-year option, didn't have as much controllability. Richardson was a very good player for the Jets in his 5 years with them, but was traded in year 5. I will point out, so most of these columns are pretty self-explanatory. The only one is the team AV, so that is a Pro Football Reference stat showing you how valuable a player is. I look specifically at how valuable they were to the team that drafted them, so the Jets or the Patriots, not their career AV, which is another way you could have looked at it. So Collins is the most valuable Patriot in this roster. Richardson, the second most valuable player behind Leonard Williams. So moving on to 2014, Calvin Pryor traded in year 4, was somewhat valuable for the Jets. Versus Dominic Easley, he was an absolute bust. A 4 AV, really not much. The injuries weren't able to hold up. He was just, too undersized the whole time. So the Jets get the edge there. Leonard Williams is the one to me, besides Jamal Adams, that really is a tough one to swallow. Traded in year 5, currently on the tag with the Giants. When you draft 6th overall, you're just talking a whole different talent level of player you can acquire. And those are the guys you really want to be able to build your team around. That's, to me, where the Patriots were successful with guys like Devin McCourty and Rob Gronkowski earlier on, where they got premier talent and kept them. Leonard Williams is an absolute stud, I think you can say, and maybe you don't want to pay him all that much, but it's hard to find guys like that. Malcolm Brown was, to me, that typical end of the first round, early second round guy. He was a solid contributor, but Patriots think they can find more talent there, either with guys later on or veterans for less than what he got from New Orleans. So they moved on after his 4th year. He was a good player, though. 2016 and 2017, Darren Lee, trade year 4, 20th overall, which is not the sweet spot, but you like to hit on a couple of these guys, and the Patriots absolute bust. They drafted Cyrus Jones in the second round, a career AV of 1. I don't know if you can have 0. I mean, it basically means you showed up, I'd say, is how you get 1. The first round pick here, this was the year of the Deflategate suspension, so they didn't have that to work with. A second round pick, you're obviously looking for, your first pick overall, you're looking for more, but 60th, those guys are hit and miss, and the Patriots missed there. And then 2017, this is where, the Patriots don't look good. Derek Rivers hasn't done anything either, but he was a third-round pick. Their first pick was traded for Brandon Cooks with, he had 1 year with the Patriots before being traded again for a first-round pick, and then Coney Ely was the guy they traded for with the second-round pick. So not much out of Derek Rivers, which is why they're in the situation they're in. But when you compare it to the Jets, 6th overall, as I said with Williams, that's premier talent. Those are guys you want to build your team around, and they didn't do it. So they kicked the can down the road a little bit to me. New GM, he's going to be able to use these picks to trade for Jamal Adams, but which is similar to what the Patriots have done. I will admit that. With guys like Jamie Collins, Derek Rivers, they use the first round picks to trade and acquire more talent than just that first round pick. It's tough though to swallow when you have premier talent like these guys. You got to keep them. That's where the Patriots have been slightly different. They know who their key cogs are. Devin McCourty, Stephon Gilmore right now. Obviously Tom Brady for a long time. You keep those guys. The Jets seem to not be keeping those guys, and that's where they're starting from scratch. I guess my spin on the Jets of what's positive, you get your guys in. You acquire talent on the road. It also, to me, reminds me a little bit of the Bills. You kind of want to clean house a little bit. These guys are going to require big contracts. If they're not your guys, if they're not happy, as Jamal Adams clearly wasn't, then maybe it's time to move on and get guys that want to be there and can be a part of believing in you moving forward versus these guys who didn't believe in the Jets. If you agree with the video, disagree with the video, please comment below, leave a like, and if you're not already, please subscribe.